The Senate yesterday voted 50 to 49 to open a debate, on budget resolution for the 2021 fiscal year. That's a move that paves the way for much of President Joe Biden's stimulus package to become law without the need for any Republican support. Bloomberg Government's Emily Wilkins joins me now from Washington, D.C. Emily, good morning. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the Republican plan for around $600 billion would be a mistake, akin to the 2009 bailout, sort of saying that, hey, what we saw in 2009 was too small. So what's the argument that Democrats are making? And also, why aren't Republicans buying it?
You know, Tim, you really sort of hit on there one of the big arguments for Democrats, that they really do not want a repeat of 2009. They want to make sure that they're getting the economy back up, back to speed, getting Americans reemployed in jobs. And they think that the stimulus is a good way to do that. Remember, too, that when Democrats ran, particularly the two Democrats who won that runoff in Georgia, that huge key race, they attribute one of their reasons for that victory to that promise of getting out direct checks to Americans and $2,000 or it'd be $1,400 now that $600's already gone out. But forget the math. Basically, this is something that Democrats just feel is really important to do right now. The argument that you have heard from Republicans is that the more that is being spent, the higher the country's debt and deficit goes, and at some point those two things have to balance out a little bit. Remember, there were some major stimulus bills that were passed last year. I think a grand total of $3 trillion in stimulus, and that is a lot toward the economy. We are hearing from individuals like Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen that more is needed at this point, but it's something that Republicans, they're still very concerned about the debt, and they're just keeping that very much in mind as they're going forward with negotiations.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk to the impeachment trial next week. Certainly a lot of attention already on that. Do we have a sense of the format for witnesses, Emily? Because it's a little bit awkward considering many witnesses will also be jurors, of course. And do you think Trump will make an appearance?
Those are all great questions. To be honest, we don't have a lot of the minute details of exactly how this trial is going to look. We do know a couple things. It's going to really take off on Tuesday of next week. We've also seen Democrats and Trump have kind of submitted their arguments for and against the impeachment. You've heard that Trump's legal team go ahead and argue that this process has been rushed, that it's been partisan, and that the president had the right under the First Amendment to say the things he did on January 6th before the mob stormed the Capitol. Democrats are saying that Trump incited the Capitol riot, not only with his words on January 6th, but on continuing to push the lie that he was the winner of the November 3rd election.
Bloomberg Government's Emily Wilkins in Washington. Emily, thank you as always for the update from D.C.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.